Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to become plant whisperers? We're diving deep into the silent language of our houseplants today.
I'm excited to break it all down. It's amazing what you can learn just by paying attention.
Seriously, those little hints and cries for help? Today we learn to listen. We're taking cues from a plant expert who's seen it all, thousands of plant consultations. They're sharing the secrets to understanding those subtle signs.
It's true. Each plant has its own way of communicating.
So let's picture this. Your prized peace lily, the one you're absolutely sure you haven't killed yet, starts looking a little bummed out. The leaves are drooping, maybe a little pale. Where do we even begin?
Well, before you run off to diagnose some rare disease, let's rewind a bit. When was the last time that peace lily got a new pot?
You're talking about repotting, right? I'll admit, sometimes I forget about that part.
It happens. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. But those roots are working hard down there. They need space to grow. Fresh soil can make a world of difference.
Makes sense. So you're saying even if we're showering them with love on the outside, those roots might be feeling neglected.
Exactly. And when those roots get root-bound, they can't absorb water and nutrients effectively. It's like trying to drink a milkshake through a tiny straw.
So, new pot, fresh soil, breathing room. Got it. But we can't talk drooping leaves without addressing the, shall we say, elephant in the room, or should we say the watering can in the room?
Definitely a classic dilemma. Overwatering or underwatering. It's one of the most common struggles for plant parents.
Right. Too much love, not enough.
Yeah.
How do we find that perfect balance? Every plant guide seems to have different opinion.
Forget the strict schedules. It's about tuning into your plant's unique needs. Check the soil moisture. Look at the leaves. They'll tell you when they're thirsty.
I like that. Ditch the calendar reminders and start a conversation with your plants. Now let's get down to business. Those mysterious spots that seem to appear out of nowhere. Are they a death sentence, or is there still hope?
The case of the curious spots. This is where things get really interesting. First rule of Plant Detective Club. Location, location, location. A spot on the edge of the leaf often tells a different story than one right in the center.
Okay, so a spot isn't just a spot, it's a clue. Break it down for us. What are some of those spot-related secrets we need to know?
Think about those trendy Monstera deliciosas everyone's obsessed with. They can get brown spots, especially in the center of the leaf. Often, that's a sign of leaf spot disease caused by a fungus called Cercospora.
Cercospora. Okay, that sounds a little intimidating.
It can be, but the good news is it's usually treatable, especially if you catch it early.
Okay.
Now, if you see brown edges with, say, a yellow halo, that's another sign you might be dealing with a fungal issue.
Got it. Brown spots, often fungal.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we should be on high alert for?
Definitely. Dry, crispy brown edges are usually a sign your plant is craving more humidity or maybe sitting in a drafty spot.
It's like the plant is sending an SOS. Help! It's too dry in here. Somebody turn on the humidifier.
Precisely. Knowing the difference between those brown spots can save you a lot of worry and potentially rescue your plant.
This is already blowing my mind. So many variations on a simple brown spot.
And we've only scratched the surface. Speaking of environmental factors, let's talk about another common culprit, sunburn.
Ooh, yeah. I've definitely been guilty of scorching a plant or two in my day. My aloe vera can attest to that.
Aloe is a perfect example. They love the sunshine, but they need time to adjust. Those brown spots are their way of saying, hey, I'm getting a little too crispy over here.
Right. It's tempting to think all brown spots mean the plant needs more water, but that's not always the case.
Exactly. It's like we talked about before. Gradual acclimation is key. Just like we can't go from 0 to 60 in the sun without getting burned, plants need time to adapt to stronger light.
Such a good point. So what does gradual acclimation look like in the plant world?
When you bring home a new plant, or even if you're moving a plant to a sunnier spot, start with just an hour or two of direct sunlight each day and gradually increase that exposure over a week or two. Watch for any signs of stress, like those discolored leaves we talked about, and adjust accordingly.
So it's all about those baby steps. Ease them into the sunshine instead of hitting them with full blast right away.
Exactly. Those little adjustments can make a big difference.
You know what else I've noticed? I tend to freak out over every little mark or imperfection on my plant's leaves. But I have a feeling you're going to tell me not all blemishes are bad.
You're way ahead of me. Plants are allowed to have a few quirks, just like us. Not every spot means a trip to the plant emergency room.
So you're saying my plant might just have a freckle or two?
Exactly. A little plant freckle, completely harmless.
I love that. Give us an example. What kind of beauty marks should we be looking out for?
One that often throws off new plant parents is on the Cycas revoluta, better known as the sago palm. The young leaves often have reddish-brown spots that will actually fade as they get older. Perfectly normal.
Plant freckles. They sound way cuter than whatever I was imagining.
They really do, and they're nothing to worry about.
See, this is why I love these deep dives. Always learning something new. So we've tackled drooping, deciphered the language of spots. What other plant mysteries are we about to unravel? Sometimes it's not the dramatic wilting or the sudden appearance of spots. Sometimes it's more of a sense that your plant just isn't, thriving.
Ah, you're talking about the slow growers, the ones that make you wonder if they're ever gonna, well, grow.
Exactly. You're giving it love, light, water, and it's like, yeah, that's great, but I'm good over here in my little pot.
It's easy to jump to conclusions, but often it comes back to those basics we were talking about earlier. Making sure they're getting enough light, the right kind of water, and of course that all-important repotting. But here's the thing. Before you start diagnosing, do a little research on your plant. Some plants are naturally slow growers, and that's perfectly okay. They're just taking their sweet time.
So patience is a virtue, especially when it comes to the plant world. I can get behind that.
Absolutely. Instead of focusing on size alone, look for those other signs of healthy growth. Are new leaves emerging? Does the plant overall seem healthy and vibrant? Those are good indicators that things are moving in the right direction, even if it's at a slower pace.
That's reassuring, actually. I think I've been guilty of comparing my plants to those picture-perfect images we see online, those Instagram-worthy jungles.
It's easy to get caught up in that, but the truth is every plant has its own rhythm, just like people. Some are going to shoot up quickly, while others are going to be in it for the long haul.
I love that analogy. Some plants are sprinters, others are marathon runners.
Exactly. And the key is to appreciate each plant for its own unique growth pattern.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening. I feel like I'm finally starting to understand what my plants are trying to tell me.
And that's what it's all about, tuning into those subtle cues. Once you start to see those droops, those spots, even that slow growth as clues, it transforms how you care for your plants.
Just like we're plant detectives now, gathering evidence, deciphering the clues. Case of the droopy Dracaena, we're on it.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the better you get at recognizing those subtle signs. And that's when it becomes really empowering.
So, to all our listeners out there, next time you see your fiddle leaf fig looking a little down, remember, don't panic. Channel your inner plant detective. What's the first clue you're going to look for? What's the story your plant is trying to tell? I feel like I need to take notes. This has been amazing.
Glad to hear it. It's all about shifting that perspective, seeing your plants as these, well, communicative roommates.
Right, they're trying to tell us what they need.
Yeah.
We just need to learn how to listen. It's like we've unlocked a secret language.
Yeah.
The language of droopy leaves and mysterious spots and, yeah, even those slow-growing beauties.
And the best part, the more you practice, the better you get at understanding those subtle cues. It's true.
So to everyone listening, next time you walk by your plant shelf and see, oh, maybe your ZZ plant looking a little less than perky, don't freak out. You've got this.
You've got a whole arsenal of plant detective skills now.
Exactly. Remember everything we've talked about, those clues, those hints.
Yeah.
Your plants are trying to tell you something.
And remember, you're not alone in this. There's a whole community of plant enthusiasts out there ready to geek out over every new leaf and, yes, even those occasional brown spots.
That's the best part. We're all in this together. Huge thank you to our plant expert for sharing all this amazing wisdom.
My pleasure. Happy to geek out about plants any day.
And to all of you listening, thank you for joining us for this plant-powered deep dive. Now go out there and have those plant conversations. We'll catch you next time.